Ready to go.
I'm sure you're a little bit surprised that I'm masking up to this degree with the goggles and now the gloves just to pour some resin. But I did develop an allergy, or I have an allergy to this casting resin. And after having to take prednisone twice due to a full body skin rash, I have decided that I'm going to be very mindful going forward. So if anybody else is like that, I will tell you that using this method worked out beautifully. I am going to cast as many different items from all my different molds as I can, mainly because I'd rather do this kind of like in a one and done way. Before I continue with this project, I would like to let you know that this video is part of a collaboration called Rustic Wednesday, but on Saturday. It is hosted by Shelly at Repurposed My Way and Dawn with Shabby Meets Bling. I'm very excited to be joining this team for the second time since I started my channel. For my first project, I have this wooden shelf that I picked up at the thrift store. It was over a year ago, so I don't remember how much I paid. I had painted it in a light blue paint, but I wasn't a huge fan of how it looked, so it kind of got tossed to the side. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to start by painting it in Acadia Pear, which is one of the new fusion colors. I will tell you that painting it in this color really doesn't do much because it's not how it ended up, but I figured I'd show you where I started. I took some of the castings from the Primitive Mold by IOD, and I am positioning them around that heart cutout that's in the middle. I'm sure that many of you probably would have covered up this heart, and I know that that's pretty popular these days to do with these heart cutouts that are so popular and we find all the time at the thrift store. But for this project, I decided to embrace the heart, and so I positioned the castings around it to kind of embellish it without taking from the beauty of it. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm using some Titebond Quick and Thick, and then I'm going to set it aside to dry. Once that was dry, I painted the entire piece in a dark chocolate color. I started with this color, which is a Coffee by Dixie Belle. And after I had painted the first coat, it is a chalk paint. It needs to be sealed. And rather than sealing it or having to paint on a second coat and then seal it, I decided to just use an all-in-one paint that I had just gotten in the mail, which was Chocolate by Fusion. So that is how I ended up. The two colors looked very similar. Now I'm taking some Vaseline and I am going to put chunks of it in random places around my piece. I do start off with with a bit of it, and then I remembered when I've seen other creators use this method for obtaining some like chippiness and some distressed effects. They ended up putting like a much thicker coat of the Vaseline on in those spots. So that's what I went back and I did that in random places all around the shelf. And then I came back and I covered the entire piece in a lighter coat of paint. This is Dixie Belle's chalk mineral paint in the color Drop Cloth, and I am going to cover the entire piece, including the castings, in this color. I do end up painting the front and the back to try to make it as cohesive as possible, and I'm just trying to really up my game in creating completely finished projects. My mom has been very proud with my last few ones that she's seen, so I feel like I'm doing a good job. Let the first coat dry, and then I painted the second coat, and before it dried all the way, I came with a paint spatula and I am rubbing all the way down and wiping back any of the Vaseline and paint that was on top of that Vaseline. One thing I forgot to mention is that when you are painting over the Vaseline, try not to overwork your paint in those areas because it will end up creating a more like smudged look. So when I went over those spots, I had a thick amount of paint on my paintbrush, but I did not go over that spot multiple times, if that makes sense. So I'm going to go around the piece in the same method, and then I have to go back and kind of just touch up a few spots. So I end up putting the Vaseline back on those open spaces and covering it with the paint again and wiping back the excess. I also used my baby wipe to wet distress back some of the paint so that I had different types of distressing going on. Some big chunks missing, and then some other ones that were just little bits kind of chipping off. So it actually created that more distressed rustic effect that I was going for this project. To seal up the piece, I'm using Big Top by DIY. This is a polyacrylic sealer, and I'm going to seal the entire piece in this clear coat before I come back with some antiquing wax to give it a little added distressing and a vintage-like effect. The antiquing wax that I'm using is a sample that was part of one of Shelly's craft kits that she put out back in the fall. So it may be folk art, it might be Waverly, I'm not sure, but I know those are the two that she uses the most. I typically water down my wax, but I actually decided not to for this part of the project. I wanted to see what it would look like when it had that more thickness that you typically would get from a wax. I'm gonna wipe it on in sections and then use just a microfiber cloth to bring back the excess. And here's a look at our finished project. For my next project, I have this oval piece. It was, I guess, a little sign. I had painted the inside in white, and now I'm going to be using another casting from IOD. This is one of the farm animals. It's a cow, and I'm going to use my Titebond Quick and Thick to glue it to the middle of this oval piece. As per usual, I started in one direction and I will be changing it up. So the first color that I tried on this piece is Victorian Lace by Fusion. I planned to paint the entire piece in this color and then use some antiquing glaze to kind of bring back the details. I wasn't a huge fan of how that was looking, so I decided to take the entire piece and paint it in black. I'm actually using folk art paint in the color, I don't know, black. I don't think it's ink because I think that's the Waverly name. I forget the name for the black one, so we're just going to call it black. I'm going to paint the entire piece in this color. And I do seal it in a polycrylic sealer with a satin finish before I moved on because we're going to be using some milk paint and I want to be able to bring out that crackled effect. I am going to be using the Fusion Milk Paint in the color Mustard, and I'm going to be painting the entire project now in that color. I'm going to do this in 3 coats, but between each coat, I am going to heat set it because that really allows the crackled and the chipping to come through. I also take a 220 grit sandpaper and I am just sanding around the edges and just lightly across the piece to see if there's any other pieces of paint that will chip off. I'm using this Tung oil by Sweet Pickins that is new to me. I've never used it before, and it has a nice citrus scent rather than what I hear the regular Tung oil may have. And I am using a rag and just kind of dabbing a little bit of that oil onto the rag and then wiping it onto my piece. I found this method to be very simple and it really didn't use up much of the oil at all. I preferred this method over some other methods that I've tried, and I will say that I've tried to use polyacrylic sealers before on milk paint and it does not work. You guys may know that already, but that was something that I learned, and so I figured I would mention it. You definitely want to be sealing milk paint with either an oil or a wax. I also decided to use some DIY black wax and rub it into the entire piece and wipe back the excess just to bring out the details of that cow and also the rim of the frame. I felt like I really wanted that to be accentuated too. This is a very dark piece, at least for me. I'm not used to making projects that are more dark and moody like this. So I really wanted to find ways to embellish it as much as I could without going light. For our third and final project today, I have this little metal box. Now, I do want to let you know I am well aware that for many, this is something that will probably freak you out a bit. I am going to paint it. So if that really upsets you, then just understand I tried selling it as is. It was not something that was of interest to anybody that visits my website. So I decided to change things up. It will be painted. If is that something that bothers you, you are welcome to move on to a different video. So I'm going to start though, before I paint anything, I am going to adhere some of my castings that I cast onto this box. I decided on the rooster for the top. I knew that was going to be what I wanted on this piece no matter what. And then I'm going to put that sunflower on the front and then two other kind of leaf embellishments on the side. All of those come from the, no. I think the Primitive mold and then another one. All of them are IOD, let's put it that way. I'm gonna get these adhered on and then I'm gonna let it sit overnight before I move on to the next step. I do use the Gorilla Glue for this instead of the Titebond Quick and Thick, mainly because I feel that the Gorilla Glue does much better at adhering to metal and other types of materials over the wood. So that's why I choose it. I know that people have asked me in the past why I use so many different types of glue. That's really why I find what's best for the specific project, and that's what I'll use. Now that everything is dry and glued, I'm going to be using that Folk Art paint again. It is a matte finish chalk paint, and I'm going to cover the entire box inside and out with this paint. I will say that the Folk Art paint, I've mentioned this before, the darker colors from this line are very pigmented. So I only really needed the one coat, and then I had to do some touch-ups just by the details where my brush didn't hit the first time. I sealed my piece with a polyacrylic sealer, and now I'm coming back with this rub and buff. This is Spanish copper, and I want to bring back the details, but really what I'm looking for is I wanted a rustic look without it being just black. And so I thought if I kind of created this more aged metal effect with that rub and buff, that would allow, I don't know, it kind of would go with the theme that I'm going for today. I am not somebody who typically does rustic and primitive decor, but one of the reasons that I enjoy being part of collaborations like this is it gets me out of my comfort zone and it has me try things that are new. I can't promise it's perfect and fits the aesthetic that I'm going for perfectly, but you know what? I will learn a little bit more each time, and I would love any comments from anyone on suggestions you may have or things that you've thought worked well. So feel free to let me know in the comments. I would love it. I'm going to finish the entire piece on the outside with this rub and buff, and then I'll come back with some black wax the same way I did with the cow piece and rub it all on and wipe back the excess just to accentuate the details of those castings. Thank you so much to Shelly and Dawn for allowing me to participate in today's collaboration. Don't forget to check out their channels for the playlist where you will find all of the other amazing videos out today. Have a wonderful weekend. I'll see you soon.